Hey, everybody, let's talk true crime today. So, you remember the short video I put out about true crime always seems to have one common denominator in it, toxic relationships? Well, this one separately, it's like a little bit different, except Heidi Broussard had a toxic friendship with someone and it cost her her life. So Netflix dropped this new documentary within the last 2 weeks, Stolen Baby. It's the Heidi Broussard story. And do, we're going to be watching the shocking murder of Heidi Broussard true crime documentary. And let me give the credit to Disturbing Crime Cases. Make sure you go over to them, show them some love, like, subscribe, and share. Also, if you don't mind, please like, subscribe, and share my channel. Let's talk true crime today.
Missing was Heidi's cell phone. Shane felt that something was wrong with the situation. He picked up their son at after-school care, and when he picked up his son, he asked his staff there for his daughter too, and he immediately knew something was wrong. They didn't have Margot. She was still too young for daycare, and wasn't due to start for several more weeks. It was at that point that Shane called the police to report his wife and daughter missing, and an extensive investigation began. Shane made this plea to the media for the safe return of his wife and child. Immediately, this case took the media by storm. Many parallel.
In this particular case, we're not looking at Shane. Shane had nothing to do with this. He was completely and totally innocent and loved his fiancee, Miss Heidi Broussard.
Parallels were drawn between Heidi and the horrific murders carried out by Chris, who had been convicted of murdering his wife and 3 children in 2018. Unfortunately, Shane bore a significant amount of scrutiny during this time, with many people on social media claiming he was guilty. After a few days with little headway in the case, the Austin Police Department brought in the FBI to assist with its investigation. They were able to determine from witnesses that Heidi had returned the morning that she disappeared, shortly after drop.
I did not know that this happened around the time of the Chris Watts story because, just like I said, true crime has most of the time one common denominator in it, toxic relationships. Same thing happens with cases like this. There's usually always one common denominator in it, and it's a significant other. It was not the case this time. It was the case of Heidi Broussard's toxic friendship with a girl. She knew she was jealous of her and wanted to live her life, but Heidi was super nice and just gave her a lot of hall passes.
Dropping her son off, but no one saw her leave the building after that. Her phone had been turned off since her disappearance, and the last time it had pinged was at the apartment. Both Shane and Heidi's mother stated that there was no way Heidi had left voluntarily. They said in this statement, she wouldn't leave, not without an ID, all of her cash in her purse. Her purse is here, her car is here, and she's a talker. She loves to talk. She loves her friends. She loves her family, and she would tell somebody, and all of her friends don't know. Her mother went on to say this, it's only her and the baby and the cell phone and her keys that are missing, and that's it. Both Heidi's mother and Shane adamantly stated she never would have left her son behind. As the investigation progressed,
absolutely, that definitely looks very sketchy, and I can imagine if this did come out around the same time as the Chris Watts case, it did have a good bit of similarities.
A witness from Heidi and Shane's apartment complex came forward. They stated that on the morning of Heidi's disappearance, they had seen her talking outside of the building with a woman. They said that they saw the baby was with them and that they watched as Heidi got into the vehicle parked outside the building, and that woman drove off with Heidi and the baby in the vehicle. Officers showed the witnesses a lineup of known people in Heidi's life, and the witness pointed out Heidi's best friend, Megan Veramusca. Heidi and Megan had been friends since they were teenagers and had met at church camp. Megan had been present at the birth of both Heidi's children and had even stayed at their apartment to help out after Margot's birth. Megan even had a key to their apartment. Officers continued their investigation and were able to confirm that Megan had seen Heidi that morning of her disappearance with surveillance and tracking, where her phone had pinged on December 12th. Megan lived in Houston, Texas, 162 miles away from Austin. Texas Rangers were dispatched to check out the home.
Have y'all seen that movie, Stolen Baby, that Netflix dropped? I don't. It was within the last 2 weeks they've dropped it, and so it's based on true events, but it's definitely a lot different than what we're hearing right now. Because obviously we're hearing like the actual truth. It's not just based on true events.
And once there, they sent up a helicopter to get aerial surveillance and noticed that a vehicle registered to Megan was parked in the backyard of the home. It was noted as odd as it wasn't like a driveway or some sort of parking spot in the backyard. It was just like a normal home backyard, and the vehicle was like parked on the grass. It looked more like they were trying to conceal the vehicle rather than it being a practical place to park it. Texas Rangers were watching the house and saw a man leave the residence. They followed him to a local Target. They approached him and asked who he was. He revealed that he was Megan's ex-boyfriend. The couple had separated months prior, but had continued to live together when he was told that Megan was pregnant. Officer
This woman was not dealing with a full deck of cards, but she was jealous of her best friend, and they had a toxic friendship. Um, Gave a lot of hall passes. I'm pretty sure red flags were out there because a lot of their friends and her fiance saw the red flags. So I think it's really good idea if we bring this awareness up. Me, I stay so shut down, especially since my divorce 10 years ago, that my circle is so small. I only have my daughter in it, and I know that's not healthy, but
asked about the pregnancy and noted its close proximity to Heidi's pregnancy. They asked about the birth, and he said it had taken place while he was out of town, and she had given birth to a girl that she named Luna May. They showed this man a photo of Marco, who confirmed looked exactly like Luna May. Law enforcement was allowed into the home by Megan's ex-boyfriend. When they entered, they spoke to Megan, who couldn't recall where she'd given birth. She couldn't show officers any sort of records that matched with Luna May, and officers found.
I don't think the lady thought this out, but most dumbasses don't think this shit out whenever they want to just throw their fucking life away. They just don't want to think this stuff out. But here's another Netflix. Well, it wasn't a documentary. It was like a movie based on true events that came out probably about 2 weeks before the Mackenzie Shirilla came out.
That incredibly suspicious. On December 19th, Megan Faramusca was arrested and the baby was taken from the home and put into child protection until a DNA test could be conducted. DNA for the baby was confirmed to be Margot.
Oh my God, even that chick looks creepy as hell. Look at those eyes. Holy shit. All right. We are watching Disturbing Crime Cases. This is their channel. The name of this one is called Shocking Murder of Heidi Broussard True Crime Documentary. I am going to link this video in the description below.
And she was returned to her father's care. During a search of the home, officers found several suspicious internet searches on a device. Google searches for reasons for Amber Alert in Austin, and 162 searches for Heidi Broussard starting from December 12th. Officers also searched the vehicle.
You know what? We're going to have to do a video on common things where dumbasses go wrong whenever they're trying to throw their lives away, because there's a lot of common denominators in this one. Not that we need to try to show these dumbasses how to get away with it, but there's a lot of common denominators in this too, with how people do dumb shit and they're careless as fuck about it.
That was in the backyard, and there they made the devastating discovery. Heidi's body was found in the trunk of the vehicle.
Oh my God, that is like awful. This was in the movie that Netflix dropped, Stolen Baby, and that's horrible. So horrible. So horrible. Let's give a moment of silence for Heidi Broussard and her family. I just want to make sure that I always uh, mention the person who had their fate wronged more than the villain, or at least try to. Let's remember her on how she lived, not how she went out.
A week after Heidi and Margot's abduction, there were now some answers, but more questions remained. It appeared that Faramuska had premeditated this attack for months, maybe even years before she carried it out.
She didn't. Okay. She premeditated it. She's still stupid as hell. It's, I just really do think that these people, I don't know, they're not dealing with a full deck of cards. Obviously, you're not dealing with a full deck of cards.
When Heidi revealed to friends that she was pregnant, that was when Megan announced that she was also pregnant and had the same due date. That Megan had been
How fucking convenient.
possessive over the newborn. But all these red flags had been just that, red flags concerning behavior. No one thought Megan was capable of this kind of violence. In January 2020, she was charged with capital murder, tampering with a corpse, and 2 counts of kidnapping. An autopsy.
You see what I'm saying with toxic relationships, why they're so addictive? So there were red flags everywhere, but no one thought that she can do what she did. Not all the time does it turn out like this, but the more I talk about these things right here, the more I think, the moment I start to see red flags, assuming I ever put my walls down, I'm running like, oh, a marathon running. Cause you don't ever think someone can do this kind of shit. Red flags are there in any type of a toxic relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's with your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, your boss. It's just crazy how we just stay in the shit instead of getting the hell out of it.
He revealed that Heidi had been strangled to death and the murder weapon was alleged to have been a dog leash. Faramuska's trial has been delayed several times due to COVID, but she has been in the Travis County Jail awaiting trial since her arrest in 2020. She is being held on a $1.6 million bond. If convicted, she could face the death penalty. In March of this year, she had her first court hearing and her defense mentioned to remove evidence collected from the day she was arrested. They argue that law enforcement didn't have a warrant to enter the home, and Texas Rangers defended their actions, saying there was a young child who had reason to believe to have been kidnapped. There had been a strong smell of decomposition at the property and had acted accordingly with a suspect.
That's got to be a hard job to have. I don't know what death smells like. I don't know what that's got to be a hard job for police officers and our detectives to do. All right, you guys, let's go over to disturbing crime cases. Make sure you go over there, show them some love and support. And the video that they put out is Shocking Murder of Heidi Broussard. True crime documentary. All right, you guys, let's talk true crime today. Until next time, peace out.